Aloha travellers, this is Shirley Ann for the Travellers Ukulele Gig Guide podcast, where we talk to people about travel and ukulele. Today we're zipping up to the top of the country. Is it up the top or out the west? I don't know. We're heading off to Northern Territory and my guest today is Bunny. G'day mate, how are you?
Hello Shirley Ann, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate we could even greet each other by saying kia ora, couldn't we?
Kia ora.
Yeah, wonderful. Bunny, whereabouts are you living right now?
So I'm living in a small mining town about 250 k's south of Darwin in a place called Pine Creek.
Okay.
And it's just off the Stewart Highway. And it's sort of, if you know where Catherine is, it's about 100 k's north of Catherine.
I only know one person in Catherine, and his name is Scott. Do you know a bloke called Scott?
No. Name doesn't. No, person called Scott from Catherine, no, I don't.
Okay, just thought I'd ask. Okay, well, what are you doing out there? It's a long way from the city.
Well, I'm here. I'm running a training company at the moment here in the Northern Territory, which we work in remote communities. And I spend a lot of time traveling around to remote communities here in the Northern Territory. So we're teaching basically, we teach HR, workhouse safety, local government. And that's what I specialise in, local government. And I teach operational works, leadership and management, fire training, that sort of stuff.
Oh, fantastic.
So, yeah, that's what I'm currently doing. I work for the company. I'm the NT manager, and I've got 7 staff working underneath us here in the Northern Territory.
Okay, all right. Well, you must be organised and knowledgeable.
Yeah, I've been here in the Territory now about 22 years. Came to the Territory 22 years ago, just on the road, touring around. And I stopped and I stayed, and I've been here ever since. And I was involved in education, but I've done a heap of other jobs before that. And I went from education, from teaching to training. So that's what I'm currently doing, working as a trainer assessor.
Oh, neat! And, fantastic. Yeah. I used to do that in a past life. I used to love it too. There's something really good about passing on knowledge.
True. Yeah, I spent nearly 15 years in primary school education. I worked there and got involved with. I love working with my students. That was one of the best jobs of my life. So yeah, it's just evolved. Previous to that, I worked in the New Zealand military and with the police and trained detection dogs.
Okay.
As part of and I came over here and worked with detection dogs training in preparation for the Sydney Olympics in 2000. So that's how I ended over here. I was married to an Aussie girl and I ended up staying.
Oh, yeah. So that happens, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's how I came to be here. And then I ended up doing a little bit of music and started traveling around.
Yeah, so that's good. We're going to get on to that. Just before we move to that topic, what is that hanging in the background beside the curtain?
That's my taiaha.
What's a taiaha?
It's traditional Māori spear. That was used back in the day. Sadly, thankfully, it's not used anymore. It's more decorative, but I actually carved that myself.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so I used to be involved in a kapahaka group many years ago, and our kaya got us all to carve our taiaha and make our taiaha for our shows that we used to do. So that's mine, just sitting there on the wall.
Fantastic. Well, this is the Travellers Ukulele Gig Guide for Australia. So some people may not know what kapahaka is. What's kapahaka, bro?
Kapahaka is New Zealand Māori, a traditional dance. That's the name that's attached to it. Where we perform, people might recognise the haka associated with the New Zealand All Blacks rugby team. everybody who's ever watched them play has always seen haka at the beginning of a match, a test match. And so, yeah, that's where the name, but the performance side of it, we call it kapa haka. And yeah, it's like groups back home. They have the annual competition where all the groups come from around New Zealand and they perform, and they get, it's like any competition. So it's over here, Australian, probably the closest thing I could would be like something like in a Stedford.
Yep.
Where yes, so Stedford. So yeah, but in New Zealand, it's with our traditional dance, kapa haka. So,
and what was your job in the kapa haka group?
I was the guitarist.
Oh, okay.
Somehow when I ended up, I don't know, I started learning to play the guitar probably when I was about 9 or 10. And that's when I sort of got involved with kapa haka in our neighbourhood where I grew up in West Auckland. And yes, I just had an affinity for the guitar. We had a guy called Lester who used to play the guitar in the group, and I used to sit next to him because I used to think, oh wow, that's pretty flash. I want to have a go at that. And he ended up teaching me a few chords, and slowly it evolves. We used to sit there, goes for a couple of years, and I'm strumming on his guitar when I got a chance, and then one day it came my time to step up and be the guitarist, and I ended up being the guitarist in the group. So yes, that's how I evolved into playing the guitar.
So those sorts of skills, singing, performing, dancing, competition, playing an instrument, learning under somebody, and then stepping up and leading in that role, they're transferable skills, wouldn't you say?
Yes, they are. Yes, yes. Quite fortunate. We're very, very fortunate. I guess I hear it a lot throughout Australia when I've been travelling around, and the Aussies go, "Oh, you bloody Kiwis can all sing. All you Maoris can all sing, and you can all dance and play the guitar." I would say 80% of us can do that because based on our cultural upbringing or how we've been brought up. Especially on the singing, I liken it to Welsh. I've been to Wales, to Carter Farms Park, and watched a rugby match and listened to them singing in the rugby game, and unbelievable singing. And I liken our culture to singing like that. It's great. I just love it. Listening to waiata.
Yep, listening to waiata. That is the Māori word for song.
Song.
That's right.
That's right.
Now, I think we should just move into the burning question. How did you transition from guitar to ukulele?
Ukulele was something I guess it was quite easy to transition into because I had learned about. I played ukulele when I was young, just as a bit of fun. A couple of Polynesian friends of mine that I grew up with had a ukulele. Their parents had a ukulele and used to play. It was their instrument of choice. I grew up with my best friends were Samoan and Tongan, and their instrument of choice in their culture was the ukulele as they called it. And being a guitarist, it's easy to transition into it, and I found it great. Just something to play, and it was a bit of a sideline for us to, how you say, muck around with, as something to do, as a different instrument. I can't say that I master it as well as the guitar, but I certainly am fairly competent with the ukulele. I don't know. I can't read music. I play by feeling, by my ear. So I just sort of pick up. I can watch somebody and it doesn't take me long to learn how to follow them, because that's the way I was taught when I was growing. We didn't have YouTube or the internet back when we were growing up. You just listened to a song on the radio and tried to figure out how the chords went, or you had to go down to the music shop and buy sheet music. And if you can't read the music, somebody knew how to play the song. and we just copied them. So
Absolutely.
that's how we learned. So, yeah, learning the ukulele. And I sort of went through a phase where I was keen on the ukulele, and then basically I never touched the ukulele for a very long time until basically I got to Australia. And I was involved, as I was saying before, I was involved in primary school education, and I used to run a music program at the primary school I worked at here in Pine Creek, and I was given about a dozen ukuleles, and I thought, wow, this would be great for my kids to get involved with. So I started teaching them to play ukulele, and they could play a song in the first afternoon because
Yeah.
it's so easy. It's easy, and kids are sponges, especially when they're younger, and they just picked it up, and they love music anyway, so they picked it up.
So
And
Pine Creek, you're 200 kilometres south from Catherine.
it's south of Darwin,
South of
100
Darwin.
k's north of Catherine.
Okay, in
Yeah.
between Catherine and
Yep.
Darwin, Pine
Yep.
Creek.
Yep.
You're at the primary school there. There's a small community there.
Yep.
You've got a bunch of ukuleles. You start playing with the kids, and then what happens?
So yeah, the kids, we used to did a few concerts at school with the kids, and then I never went the ukulele. Playing the ukulele didn't sort of, I didn't commence my ukulele journey there. I used to be involved in a music, what's sort of like a monthly music festival or get together of musicians at a place called Grove Hill, and that started around 2002, 2003.
We've lost you for a bit. 2000 and something or other.
Once a month, last Saturday of every month, at a place called Grove Hill, which is a sort of a historic old pub out in the bush. It's about 50 k's north of here and about 40 k's inland. And so it's an old mining area around there. Back in the day, it used to be very big when the gold rush was on, back in the 1800s. But of course, now this pub has sort of had a bit of history, and they used to run this musical weekend there. And over the years, different people, a lot of folk, country, rock, different type of artists used to go there. And sort of around about the 2014, 15, some ukulele groups turned up there and started playing there. And I got talking to them. I thought, wow, this is great. I'm already doing ukulele at school with the kids I work with at school, and it'd be nice to get involved. So I thought, wow, I might as well see if I can start my own band back in Pine Creek. And so that's how our little group started. And we were very enthusiastic in the beginning. We had about a dozen people involved, so we didn't know where to go. Most of them, well, 95% of them had never played a ukulele before. Some of them had different backgrounds. One guy was a very accomplished musician, but he could play the banjo, guitar, mandolin, and sort of he sort of was next to myself, was helped tutor the other members of the group, and we called ourselves "You Got to Be Kidding." So
I love it. Come on,
yeah,
high five to the screen, bro. You gotta be kidding. Yeah,
you gotta be kidding. Well, I wanted to call ourselves Ukes of Hazard, but apparently one of the girls said you can't have that name, it's already taken. And I went, oh. And somebody else was sitting there and said, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And that's when another lady said, that's a great name, you gotta be kidding. And that's how our group got its name, You Gotta Be Kidding.
Okay, let's just take a little check in here. So is the year about 2002?
I'd say 2015, we ran about 16, around there.
Okay, 2000.
I can't remember the date exactly.
And yep. You're inspired by a group of ukulele people. You found some people locally that you could play with. You thought, I'm going to start a band. I can do this.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
what we did.
Yourselves, You Gotta Be Kidding. Is that where it all started? Yeah.
That's where it all started.
So it
And
sounds like you and the other fella were
yep,
group leaders.
yeah, his name was Jampan. That was his nickname, but like me, Bunny. So we just he was involved for 4 or 5 months before he left. He had bad arthritis in his hands and really struggled to play, which was sad. He's still here in town, but he can't play anymore, which is sad. But he's got a wealth of knowledge. He played a lot back in the UK where he grew up, and yeah, very knowledgeable guy. And he played many instruments, but sadly he can't play anymore. So he sort of pulled away from the group. And by then, I was quite a hard teacher on the guys I was with. I wanted them to be competent, and so I didn't believe in making them all sit there with the books and with the chord charts and that. So when you came to practice rehearsal, you didn't come there to rehearse how to play. You did that in your own time, because we came there to rehearse new songs. And fortunately, it went all right, because it's a little bit like teaching young students at primary school. They don't know any different. So everybody just said, oh, okay, you said we've got to practice that. So they go home and practice it. And so that's why we were able to transition quite fast from playing, I call it the beginner songs, You Are My Sunshine and all that, into the more complex songs, if you know what I mean, which are using more chords and yeah. So we transitioned very fast as a group. I was a muso in my own right, playing in the surrounding areas and bands and duos and solos. So I had a good feel for the music industry, and I knew what was needed for us to be able to get out there and perform. I went online. I've obviously went on YouTube and had a look at what was going on around the country, and I was surprised to see how fast ukuleles were taking off and how big the groups were getting. And yeah, I just fell in love with this, and just a new genre or something new to do.
Yep.
And the people that were surrounding me, the group was really happy. They were on fire,
Yeah.
and serious.
Yeah, good.
And
So you're halfway between Catherine and Darwin. South and west of you, south and east of you is a place called Melbourne. In Melbourne, they have a festival called the Melbourne Ukulele Festival, which is an acronym that is MUF. But I understand there's something similar out your way.
So after our ukulele, group was formed and everything, one of the other groups that's up there, because there was the main group that is in Darwin involved with ukulele is the Darwin Ukulele Collective, and their shortened version of their name is the Darwin Dukes, or the Dukes, and they're probably the main group of people or ukulele club in Darwin, and from that spawned other groups, and they were coming out to the music weekends that we're having out at the Grove Hill Hotel. And from there, they were telling us, oh, you've got to come to MUF. And I'm like, what's that? And they said, MUF, Mandorah Ukulele Folk Festival. And so back in those days, around when we got involved, it was a 3-day event, or 2.5 day. From Friday night, it started. Saturday, there were workshops in the morning, then main concert. That's when all the groups and bands played, and through the Saturday. Then on Sunday, there was more workshops and that, songwriters, that sort of stuff, bush poetry, and then there was more entertainment on the Sunday afternoon. And so the MUF ran as a full MUF. Then back then it was 2.5 days. So yeah, it was really popular.
Okay.
And yeah, and then of course along comes COVID, and we got involved. Our little you've got to be kidding. We did 4 or 5 MUFs, I think, and yeah, and we're at the very last one. I think we were one of the paid bands. We actually got paid, so that was a step up for us. Made it onto the headlines, and yeah, ended up getting paid for that gig. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
no, just where we sort of we started off as just an ensemble of friends playing in the local hall here in town, and then next thing you know, we're on the big stage, and you know, people are coming up and giving us money at the end of the nights, which is good.
travelers,
The
travelers.
transition from, you know,
This is what
yes,
happens with a bit of practice, probably a few beers, and weeks and weeks and weeks of social connection and practice. But I hope you caught a little something different, a bit of gold, a little hint that Bunny gave us, and it was this: he didn't tell everybody that the weekly jam was learning how to play. You had to do that for yourself at home. And
yeah. Well,
how
that's
they
it.
managed to transition quickly.
That's yeah. That's one of the. I look. I don't mean to be. You know, I look at it as like I learned from my brother, who's a accomplished musician, and he said, you know, rehearsals for us to rehearse it, not for you to practice. So it's not, and when we go to rehearsal in the hall with the band, it's not there for me to go, I can't get the D chord, or I can't get the C chord, I can't, or haven't been, because you haven't practiced. You go there to rehearse your new songs. That's where you learn your new songs, and then you go home and you practice your D chord and you see. So I was a little bit tough on the band. I said this is the standard required, and yeah, and it helped people to transition. Then once people can play and they're competent and they don't need to look at the words or need to, you know, they've got the finger memory, and you know, in their hands and that, then they don't need to look at the, you know, the fretboard or anything. They don't need to look at the sheet music or the lyrics. They can look at the audience and start enjoying themselves. And so, yeah, that's what it's about, you know, having fun, isn't it? And
Yeah,
having a bit of a
absolutely.
laugh. And,
I'm in a ukulele duo. We're called the Jazzulettes, and my bandmate is her background is as a violinist, and so
yep.
And she was very accomplished, and she's got a whole lifetime of music behind her, and
Mm-hmm.
she absolutely said that to me. She said, "Rehearsal, that's what you do at home.
Yep.
Practice is what you do at home.
Yep.
Getting our set list
Yep.
ready for the gig is what we do together." I
Yep.
just might be paraphrasing her, but I hear where you're coming from.
Exactly. That's right. And I think once people transition, once the group members transition age, they were very, very keen to learn songs at a great rate, if you know what I mean. We went from learning one song a week to learning several songs in a night,
Yeah, great.
because we didn't have to, I'd say, check this song out on YouTube. We're going to do that next week. Go home, do the research, you know, and my partner, she would print out the song sheets and everything. Everybody had their own folders, the song sheets, and yeah, very quickly we're able to transition into songs that people wanted to play rather than we felt obliged to play
Yep, I
because of,
understand.
so that, and people have said to us, oh wow, you guys play some, you know, great different stuff, and that's what I wanted us to be, because I went to a few concerts. So I went to Muff originally, and I heard, and this is not detracting from groups, but I heard, you know, a lot of groups are playing similar stuff, and I thought, I don't want us to sound like that.
Mm.
You know, I want us to be slightly different.
That I want to ask this question now. Then,
Mm-hmm.
what are your top 5 songs to play at the moment in September 2023? And you can reflect all the way back to 2016. It can be, but what ones do you love playing?
Ho Hey by the Lumineers.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You Got Something I Need. What's that Megan Trainor song? All About the Bass.
Yeah.
Love playing that. Mercy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, well, I can't remember what else. There's so many. Um,
One more.
Yeah, I suppose Valerie is the
Valerie.
song. Yeah,
Do
I'm
you
trying to
play
remember.
Fisherman Blues?
No, I don't know the song.
Don't you? You would know it. Go on. I'll
Oh,
leave
if I heard it, yeah, probably, yeah. If
Fisherman
it's
Blues by I want to say the Water Boys, but it might be the Water Boys, an old song from the 80s. I wish I
oh, okay.
was a fisherman tumbling out to sea.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll look it up once I get off here and have a listen to
I
it.
think you might like it.
Yeah,
If you like those ones
yeah.
with a couple of the minor chords, you might like that one.
Yeah,
Pump
yeah,
that one out.
yeah.
Let's just
Things like The
guess.
Way by Fastball,
Oh,
stuff
yep.
like that, which has got lots and lots of chords. We were doing, because I used to jam with some other guys, and we'd play Sultans of Swing and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
But we went from being, as a all ukulele, we introduced percussion, we introduced bass guitar, stuff like that. We, the kazoo, and we used to do just the songs a cappella.
Yeah.
We reached a part and then do a verse a cappella just to be slightly different. We did songs from Papa Joe, like From the Sweet,
Mm-hmm.
which is a 70s song, yeah, I can't remember. It's just, yeah, some of the songs are there,
Well,
But yeah,
that's a
no,
lovely, good set list anyway.
yeah, it's different. It's trying to be different, Um, songs from bands like Snow Patrol and stuff like that, and modern stuff, Gautier. Yeah, so we were doing that sort of to try and break it up. We didn't want to be "You Are My Sunshine" bands, And I don't mean that in a bad way to all the in the thing. I wanted our guys to be to stand apart, and just try and do things a little bit different.
Good.
And so,
Right, well, that leads me to another question. This is the Traveller's
mm-hmm,
Ukulele Gig Guide. So
mm-hmm,
you travel around with work. You're
yep.
It's sort of a small remote town. Do you travel for leisure and pleasure? And if you do, in what do you travel?
Sorry, where do I travel?
No, in what? Do you have a
Ah,
camper van?
no, we've got a bus. We've graduated. We started off, swags, tents, camper trailer, to and now we're transitioned to a bus, and our bus's name's Gypsy 88,
Okay.
and we're about to head off in our bus on the permanent journey. Again, it's time to move on. Well, no, we won't leave. Pine Creek will always be our home. We've got our grandchildren here and family and stuff like that, but we'll always return here. But we're going to hit the road. Joss and I, we're leaving in January, and we're going to travel. We've got a group of our friends we called the Dreamweavers, and we meet up and we like going to musical concerts and stuff like the Big Red Bash, the Gimpy Muster, etc. We, Bridgetown Blues. That's our thing. We go and meet our friends at different places, and that's the plan. We're going to all travel and meet up at music festivals, and hopefully, catch up with some other fellow ukulele players along the road.
Oh, that's
So,
fantastic. Well, you're aware of the site. I know you've posted on the Travellers Gig Guide page, and you
yeah,
know that we've got a national club list, don't you?
yep, for sure.
So at
And
the moment, it's a work in progress because at the moment we've got 137 clubs listed around the country. So you download that on your device and then off you go. You just check in as you go along. I'd love to hear any reports or get any photos of where you're going and what you've seen and what you've heard.
Oh, without a doubt. No worries. Isn't it funny? We were in our bus one day and I could hear a ukulele playing, and I come around the corner and there's this lady sitting on a chair and she was practicing a song. I wandered on over. Hey, I've got a uke. She said, I don't want to embarrass you because I'm trying to learn the song. I said, maybe I can help. And within, 20 minutes, we're new best friends, and I got to help through the song. And next day they left and we parted ways and waved goodbye, hoping to see each other down the track somewhere. Okay. But I was very happy to be able to help her with the song. So I'm hoping to be able to run into more like-minded people on the road, and I'm sure I will.
That's a bit of a thematic. That's a bit of a theme, isn't it, with ukulele people? Ukulele people are open. They sort of play anywhere they happen to be. They just whip out their ukulele and off they go, and it draws people in, doesn't it? Sometimes
that's the thing. It's so transportable. I can fit my ukulele. I'm off to Bali. I take my ukulele with me over there all the time, and then we'll pull it out on the beach, and then next thing you know, you've got a crowd, all gathering around, listening to the music. You can just put it in your suitcase, take it anywhere. It's transportable. It's one of those instruments you can take anywhere with you on the road, wherever you are. And any kind of music really brings in people. It does. It does. The music's an international language.
Fantastic. So I've got this little story, and I shouldn't be talking about myself, but this reminds me of it. I was waiting for my cousin in Brisbane, in South Bank, and she was a bit late. I had my ukulele with me, so I opened up my case and I was playing my ukulele just there in South Bank, and I was playing the song, and all the people that walked past, I went, "Oh, isn't that lovely?" And they started throwing money in my case at my feet. And then by the time my cousin arrived, and I think it was 10 minutes later, I'd made $48. And I only sang one song. I just kept singing the same song over, and I just, don't worry about a thing.
Yeah. But yeah, that you're exactly true. Yeah, music brings people together. I'll be sitting somewhere and you bring out the ukulele and people go, "Oh wow." Another really good friend of mine, Ringy Brown, he lived in Catherine. He was a primary school teacher, but he was real old school. He's 20 years older than I am, and he's retired now. But he would travel around all the different schools in the area as a relief teacher. So he used to say, it's too hard for me to come in here and be the teacher for these guys because their normal teacher who's normally here knows what their curriculum is. I can't come in here and say I'm going to do maths or I'm going to do. So yeah, Ringy Brown, I remember him well. That was his passport to fame and fortune, was that he would travel around and do ukulele, make songs with the kids. So yeah. Okay.
Bunny, we're running out of time, and I think we are some difficulty with our internet connection because we're very far away from each other. But we did our best. But we've got 1 minute left. So could I ask you this, mate? What is your big ukulele dream?
I would actually like to have a market stall in which you set up in the market and sell ukuleles and teach people ukuleles what to do, because I've been to lots of markets and I haven't seen people selling ukuleles.
Okay, that sounds like a great thing to do. Just set it up and be the mobile ukulele man.
That's it, and go to the stalls and everything and set up and with the little, your little stall, whatever it is, your little tent, and put up your ukuleles, sit there and play ukuleles and sell ukuleles to people and get more people involved.
Fantastic. Bunny, we're out of time. So thank you very much for talking to us at Travellers
No worries.
Guide. Safe travels. And can we check in and have another conversation, say sometime next year when you're on the road?
Sure. Yep, love that.
I want to hear some of your stories. I want to hear some of the things you've seen and done. Okay, mate?
No worries. You take care.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening, travellers.
Don't forget to subscribe, follow or click notifications on your preferred platform so you don't miss a yarn. We're posting a new episode every Wednesday morning because it's a great hump day, pick me up kind of a podcast. Thanks for listening. This is Shirley Ann. Aloha.